Manmohan Singh was very weak Prime Minister, but he turned up seeing through this Indo-US nuclear deal right to the end. He did not give up. That is another thing she had, Indira Gandhi, the ability to take risks. Unlike her father, she was not ideological. She once said this to a UP leader, Mera baap sant tha, main nahi hoon. You know, it was Rahul who prevented his mother from becoming Prime Minister in 2004.
Yeah.
My daddy died, was killed. My father was killed. In 6 months, you will be killed. And you take 24 hours to decide. If you go ahead, I will do something drastic.
Today we have with us Neerja Chowdhury, over 40 years of experience covering politics for various newspapers, and she's out with a sensational book that's created quite a few headlines. It's called How Prime Ministers Decide, and the book is essentially about the lives and times of 6 Indian Prime Ministers. It talks about the key decisions they made, what shaped those decisions, the influences they've had in their lives. And the Prime Ministers you've covered are Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, VP Singh, PV Narasimha Rao, AB Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh. Welcome, Neerja. Thank you for taking out the time to talk to us. My first question has to be, which one's your favorite?
Recently I was in Maharashtra and I was in a village and I asked a group of young girls, they were about 16, 17, 18 like that, college and school both, and I asked them, who's your favorite Prime Minister? Remember 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
And what did they say?
In one voice, Indira Gandhi.
Yes.
And she fascinates me also. If I'm honest, she really fascinates me.
Okay.
And she dealt with, of course, Nixon in a way. He called her what? An old witch.
An old witch.
Even Muraji Desai had called her this chokri, and Ram Manohar Lohia had called her Gungi Gudiya. Now, the fact that she declared elections when she did it tantalizes even observers even today.
Yeah.
She acted as Nehru's daughter rather than Sanjay's mother.
One of the theories is also that the bureaucracy was very fed up with her and they wanted this to be done with.
No Prime Minister really fully believes the IB as far as election results are concerned. And a good chance at that time, of economy doing well, that good chance that she would come back. And she took that risk. That is another thing she had, Indira Gandhi.
If Sanjay had been alive till today, and if they were to continue the way, Congress would have been probably the biggest right-wing party we would have had. And there would have been no scope for the BJP to emerge. What do you think of that hypothesis?
Had Sanjay been alive, where India would have been, where the Congress would have been, we can only conjecture about. Unlike her father, she was not ideological, so to speak. She understood the nature of power. She understood statecraft, and she once said this to a UP leader.
How do you stack that Congress versus, current positioning of Rahul Gandhi?
I don't think Indira Gandhi subscribed to the ideology of RSS. She hobnobbed with him. She always had some independent sources outside of the IB and official sources who would give her information about what was going on in the RSS. And they managed to establish contact with her. She sent this message just before the 1977 elections to them saying, Sang chunav se alag ho jaye. So also Rajiv Gandhi, keep in contact with them and so on.
They reached out to him for Ramayan to air
and
it.
And he helped that, he did. The head of RSS wrote to him, Chiranjeevi, Rajiv, अगर रामायण भारत में नहीं दिखाया जाएगा क्या न्यूयॉर्क में दिखाया जाएगा. So he took that decision.
Taking RSS head on, how shrewd is that as a politician, do you think, especially when you stack him against what his grandmother did and what his father did?
See, Jawaharlal Nehru,
he was clearly opposed. He was
thought the RSS was fascist.
Yeah. What are the similarities between Rajiv Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi for you as someone who's covered both of them?
Sonia Gandhi didn't want Rajiv to come into politics. Now, in terms of Rahul, she's wanted to.
Yeah.
That's a difference. Rajiv Gandhi initially, he was very forward-looking. He brought a, it was called the hope of India at that time. Rahul Gandhi also very reluctant to come in, but having come in, well-meaning, sincere, His Bharat Jodo Yatra has, taken away the Pappu image that he was saddled with. Again, very set on certain things that he wants to do, but politically naive. As a person to revive the Congress party, to be the conscience of the Congress party, Rahul would be good. But as a Prime Minister, it was Rahul who prevented his mother from becoming Prime Minister in 2004.
Yeah.
She was all set. Congress Parliamentary Party had chosen her. I remember those days so clearly by the, not by the date, but the days. Saturday, the Congress Party chose her. And Monday, this meeting takes place, which Natwar Singh told me about, because he was at this meeting. He went to 10 Janpath. Dr. Manmohan Singh was there. And Suman Dubey was there, Sonia Gandhi was there, Priyanka was there. Rahul walks into the meeting and says to her, my dadi died, was killed, my father was killed, in 6 months you will be killed. And you take 24 hours to decide. If you go ahead, I will do something drastic. So the thing was all set. But when she was chosen as the leader of the Congress Parliamentary Party, she had spoken to Mr. Vajpayee and said she wanted his Ashirwad. And he said, my Ashirwad is with you in abundance, but I would advise you not to do it because it would divide the country and it would divide the civil services.
The Bofors story was leaked by Arun Nehru to the Swedish radio. And this is his conjecture.
And he said it so categorically. He said, Arun Nehru leaked this to Swedish radio and we knew it.
And I in fact reached out to Chitra Subramaniam, who reported on the Bofors for the first time in India. And she said that the Swedish radio presenter denied that it was not Arun Nehru who leaked it. How do you go about sourcing and trusting your sources, especially when you do a book like this, which is quite explosive?
Certain stories were told to me. Over the years, I'd heard them. Like, for instance, who wrote out Sonia Gandhi's speech, that inner voice speech when she declined prime ministership, which is not in the book, by the way.
It?
I was told this story half a dozen times by people who were around her. And then...
But who wrote it? You have to tell us that.
No, I'm not going to say that because...
Should give us a guess of who it is.
I was told that it is one of the editors of a national daily.
Oh, it's a journalist who wrote that, Narendra Modi, and he's not part of your book, but we'll come to that also. There is one thing that his supporters really credit him for is that he's broken down this Lutyens, Delhi, elite, liberal kind of coterie that surrounds those in power, and those are the guys who make things move and shake in Delhi. As a journalist covering those years, how true is this charge of this darbar?
Every prime minister has a darbar. Every prime minister has a coterie. Information, it's not the cabinet ministers or the senior bureaucrats who always have the real information. It's the, the others the hangers-on, the aides, the attendants, the power brokers, who are often repositories of information. And for a journalist, they are a very important source to tap. And I found this very early on. And I've relied on, I was looking consciously for people who'd be able to give me that kind of information. And that Modi has come and questioned it and
that there are no, like the hangers on, the power brokers that you're talking about, he's dismantled that system.
He met the media early on in his first term. 1.5 hours, our questions dried up. He was sitting there waiting to answer anything. And even the rough and tough questions, he fielded. Then he said, Dekha, then he's an OBC. He's an OBC Prime Minister. Devagowda was also an OBC Prime Minister, but belonging to an intermediate caste like the Vokaligas. He's pitching all the time. It's not a doom and gloom story he's putting out. It's aspirational. This is where we are going. This is what we are going to achieve. How we are going to do it is not always spelled out at all. Therefore, Modi's appeal to small town India and to big village India, as I call it, is something to look at. Power not just being concentrated in the hands of what were the... now, of course, I can say there are the new elites coming up. It's through Mandal, the new Brahmins in the OBCs being created. But certainly that's why he calls, the Khan Market,
gang,
Lutyens Delhi. Those are symbols of what they think is elite.
So again, interestingly, you see within the Congress this right-wing shade, which today is the sole preserve of the BJP.
The Congress was a big umbrella party under which all could coexist. Later, of course, things became different.
What are the similarities to your mind as a journalist between how it was during Indira's time, emergency, versus Modi's time, which is undeclared emergency?
As I said, institutions under pressure, media under pressure, judiciary under pressure, and so on. But I would say undeclared emergency, I would not say. During the emergency, you and I could not be talking like this.
I've seen him at conferences at the India Today conclave. I think there was a 2002 conclave where he's taking questions on Gujarat, on the riots. Farooq Abdullah is on the dais with him. I think there's Digvijay Singh also with him. And he's he's not really worried about the questions coming his way. And he's answering on what happened with the riots and all. So what explains this complete shutdown today, where he does not want to take questions from the select coterie of, say, like an Arnab or a Navika or, someone that's going to give him a cakewalk interview?
I do hope that there will be a press conference by him before the second term ends. And if he goes into a third term, I do hope very much that he will do that. But, political reporting also has changed, if you notice. Politicians are doing one-way communication.
Free में इतना ही मिलेगा. To watch the full unedited interview, you have to subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. Because we don't run advertising. All our money comes from subscribers like you. And that is how public service journalism is paid for. All the studio lights, the cameras, all that you see on our website, it all comes from subscribers. So do subscribe, click on the subscription link, watch all the interviews unedited, and pay for public interest journalism.